Okay, let's go. Here we go. Next Tuesday, midterm. I'm going over the nuts and bolts, and you can ask any question on any topic you want. All right? Next Tuesday, 3, we're in Gym A. If you have your Chromebooks, let them open, please. Let's go to our Aspen page. Copy on your seat number. If you don't have it with you, it's your responsibility to look it up on your own. Review. Already, open up. We'll see. C3. I don't care what it does. Ask me what. Okay, midterm review folder up on the top. And post it, yeah, geometry AB, period 3. Hey, if you're absolutely number. All good there. Okay, couple things. Listen up, couple things. The test is from 1 to 3. It ends at 3 o'clock. If you show up at 2:30, it ends at 3 o'clock. You do not get extra time if you're late. Okay, no extra time if you're late. If you are absent because you're really, really sick or whatever the case, I think there's a makeup day. You really don't want to fall into that because you'll be in some random room with nobody else on a Monday when everyone's in class and have to take it then. But if you're sick, I guess, right? But again, if you're late, you don't get extra time. Okay? Gym A, 1 to 3, please be on time. Any issues with that? Watch your time as well, because at 3 o'clock, that's it. Whether you're done or not, I got to collect it. It shouldn't go more than 2 hours, though. Your test, by far, shouldn't go more than 2 hours. All right, so no extra time, whether you show up on time or show up late. All right, it ends at 3 o'clock. We all good there? Okay, bringing to the exam. Okay, your supply list. Pens, blue or black. Some pencils with erasers. Calculators, you know how I feel about this. Make sure they're charged. Make sure they got fresh batteries if they take batteries. If you need to borrow one from me, I have no issues with that. You have to come to a review session, though, to borrow a calculator. That's the deal. You need a calculator, come to a review session. All right, I am not going to bring any extra calculators with me. That's on you. Okay, compasses. All right, I will tighten them for you at the exam if you need to. Not a big deal, but I won't have any extra compasses there. All right, straight edge, and obviously your A game and whine or no excuses because you didn't prepare. Probably a good idea night before, Monday night, get a Ziploc bag if you have any at home. Put all your supplies in there so it's in one nice, organized fashion. All right, questions? Why do you need pens during the exam? The entire exam is done in pen. In pen, except for, ready? Any graphs or constructions that you do can be done in pencil. Okay, everything else is in pen. All right, everything else is in pen. If you're nervous about making a mistake, do it all in pencil, then go over it in pen before you hand it to me. If you're nervous about making a mistake, but everything is done in pen. And if anybody wants to know why, all right, that's so when I hand it back, kids can't erase the pencil and put, oh, I actually had this answer, because it happens, but believe it or not. Okay, it happens. All right. We all good on the supplies? All right, I'm not bringing any extra. If you need to borrow something, come to a review session. I'll be more than happy to give it to you. All right, you guys have your packet. If you go through, I don't know how many midterm reviews I gave you. Hold on, test format. Here's what your test is, 22 multiple choice, 6 longer questions in part 2, and then there's going to be 3 proofs at the end. Total of 80 points. There is no curve, if you're wondering. If you get a 40 out of 80, you get a 40 out of 80. If you get a 79 out of 80, you get a 79 out of 80. There's no curving it up, no matter how well or how poorly you do as a class. All right, we're not going to curve it. Any questions about the format, the setup? So over half your test comes from those multiple choice questions, so you might want to take your time on those. All right. All right. How to study, obviously. You got however many reviews in your packet. That's awesome. There's a ton of different questions. I think it's a great review packet we put together. It's not enough, though. Okay. You can't just hold up a packet and say, I did it all. I'm ready to go and get a 95. That might not be the case. Okay. I would highly recommend, if you haven't recycled them or throw them out, look back at old tester quizzes. Okay, so you can see, all right, what did I do wrong? I don't want to make that mistake again. And can you answer those questions as well on the tester quizzes that I've had? I don't know if you close your Chromebooks, don't worry. Up on Aspen, though, you guys should already know the answers to the review packet are on there. And you will also see, actually, I'm going to show you myself. You're going to see 2 other things up on the Aspen webpage. There's an extra midterm review that I'm going to hand to you later on in the week. I don't want to give you so many papers right now. Here we go, geometry AB. Midterm review answers. You see extra midterm review answers. I'm going to hand that to you later on in the week. And if you're absent for some reason, I posted it as well, extra midterm review. All right, up on Aspen, you're going to see a link to construction videos, because there will be constructions we're going to ask you to do on the midterm. If at any time you forget how to do a construction that we've gone over, myself and Miss Venezia, who's the other geometry AB teacher, we did all the constructions we're going to do through the entire year. So you guys forget how to do a median, it's right on here, step by step. Okay? And this may sound mean, but I'm not reviewing constructions in class. They take 5 to 10 minutes, and I think it's a waste of time when you can do it on your own, or come to a review session and I will sit down and go over it with you. But I'm not going to constructions in class. It just takes way too much time. All right. So they're all up here. The link is up on Aspen. Also on Aspen, the review times. You guys are concerned about this Saturday, 12 to 3, and Tuesday, 9 to 12:30. That's when I'll be available in this room. Expectations for review sessions. It's not a social hour to come with your buddies. It is a business trip if you're coming here. All right? You come, I got questions on these questions or this topics, I'll sit down and do it with you. I'm not going to be up in the front of the room teaching anything. Okay? And again, you want to bring friends that don't have me as a teacher, that's fine too. But if it's a social hour, I'm going to kick you out. Okay? Because we got kids in here that are ready to go for this midterm and want to get serious about it. All right, so don't think it's a big social hour we can come and hang out. Go to the library, go to the Four Corners and do that stuff, all right? But not in this review session, all right? A couple last things here. Your overall course grade, just so you know how your midterm is fit in. Here's how your course grade's figured out. You got a quarter 1 grade, whatever it was. You got a quarter 2 grade, which are now complete. You're going to have this midterm that you're going to take. You're going to have a quarter 3 grade, a quarter 4 grade, and at the end of the year, we're going to take the Regents exam in geometry. Those are 6 grades divided by 6. That's your course grade. So yes, this midterm you're going to take counts just as much as quarter 1 and quarter 2 did. All right? And I just warn people about that, because if you have nice, pretty, I got an 89 in quarter 1 and a 92 in quarter 2, and all of a sudden I thought I was good in geometry, and some of you have found out that if you don't prepare, no matter how well you are, how well you do in here, doesn't matter. You get a 70 in the midterm, that's going to hurt a little bit. Okay, that's going to hurt. And finally, how am I going to figure out how well I did on the midterm? I'm going to post it to Aspen like I do your testing quizzes. So whenever it's posted, I'll post it, make it public. You guys get notifications if you get them. If not, you can just look on Aspen yourself. So you don't have to wait till the Monday we get back. Whenever I finish correcting them, I'll put them in my grade book, and you guys will see what you got. All right? Excuse me. Any questions there before we get buckle up for the next 3.5 days here? Anything on the nuts and bolts of the midterm? Okay. Here we go. I gave you an assignment sheet yesterday that had suggestions on how to, set up your own schedule to prepare, but you guys can ask me questions in the packet. You can ask me questions in general, because I will say to you, I'm not going to review that. It's not worth it for this midterm. All right, we're only going to review stuff that pertain to this midterm. Units 1 through 6 and one question on similarity. That's what the midterm covers. So I am going to open it up to you guys. All right, unfortunately, it kills me because I know I'm going to just see blank packets the whole week, but that's your deal now. All right, here we go. Bella, you're up. Catherine, you're on deck. Number 1, review 1. Okay, here we go, everyone. Unit 1, review 1. I'm going to cut them out, and we'll go over it. And again, these questions are not put here to make your life miserable. They're put here because they pertain to the midterm. Same thing when I hand out that extra midterm. All those questions are there for a reason. So I have negative 5x minus 8y plus 12 equals 0. I'm looking for a slope of a line perpendicular. Somebody tell me something about slopes and perpendicular lines. Claudia, you're up. I need to find the negative reciprocal. Not the same slope. That's for parallel lines. I need to find the negative reciprocal. Only way I'm doing that here is if I get y by itself. Everything else has got to move to the other side. Got to get y by itself. How am I moving the 5x over? I'm adding it. How am I moving the 12 over? Okay, so let's do that first. So negative 8y equals 5x minus 12. How do I get the negative 8 over? I can't add it over. Divide it over. So I get negative 8, negative 8. So here's the equation in y equals form. Y equals negative 5 over 8. And then negative over negative is plus 12 over 8. I'm not really concerned about that. I'm concerned about, got to put the x. What's the slope of this line now? Now I've transformed it into y equals. What's the slope of this line? Negative 5 over 8. Claudia, remind your classmates one more time. I got to find the what for perpendicular. Negative reciprocal. What do I mean by negative reciprocal? Flip and change the sign. What happens when you flip and change the sign of negative 5/8? It becomes positive 8 over 5, whatever choice that happens to be. Catherine, you're up. Number, same review. Partition, yeah, definitely going to be on next week. Partition. All right, so let me just get my point A, 2, 4, point B, 8, 10, and we're partitioning it into a ratio of 5 to 1. All right, here we go. First thing we take care of are our x coordinates. Somebody tell me, what x coordinate do I start at? 2, and I go to 8. And by the way, these reviews are just going to be class yelling out. I don't have time to go to the generator and pick numbers here. That's going to waste time. So 2 to 8, what's the distance on the x-axis you traveled? 6. All right, if I'm going to find a point that's in a ratio of 5 to 1, you're going to break line segment AB into how many equal parts? 6 congruent parts. So I'm going to take 6 in the next step and divide it by 6. So if you want to divide it up evenly, you got to go 1 unit. But unfortunately, I'm not going 1 unit. I need the spot that's 5 to 1. So I'm going to take that first number in the ratio and I'm going to multiply it by 1. So 1 times 5. Everyone see why 5? Because I got to go over 5 times. So this tells me Don't move 1 unit, move 6. Move 5 units from what starting point? 2. So you start at 2, and you move over 5 units on the x-axis. Where do you end up? 7. Okay, that's just for the x-coordinate. You need to know the y now, too. So for the y-coordinate, we're going to go through the same exact steps, except new numbers now. Where are my y-coordinates for A and B? 4 to 10. What's that a distance of? 6. Perfect. 6 divided by 6. It's the same thing as the x-coordinates. Still going to multiply it by 5. What starting point did we go on the y-axis? So I start at 4, add 5. Where's my y-coordinate? At 9. Finish this off. What's my partition point? 7, 9. You will have a scrap sheet of graph paper given to you at the end. I highly recommend on your partition questions, graph A and B, and then graph your partition point to make sure that thing falls on, because if it doesn't, you did something wrong. All right, you have to be there for 2 hours. All right, you did something wrong, go back and fix it. All right, so graph it, make sure your partition point falls on the line. Somebody else in here, Claudia, and then you're on deck, Emma. 7, same review. Okay. Okay, we got a line segment. Let's see, that line, point M is between S and T, so I got S, T, point M is somewhere between them, and then I'm working with SM is x squared minus 8x. MT is 18 plus 2x, and the whole thing is 90. All right, anybody think they can set up an equation? Find the value or values of x. Ready? Help me set up an equation. X squared minus 8x. What else do I need to do with it? Add it to 18 plus 2x and set it equal to 90. That's the whole thing. What's the highest exponent showing? 2. That's what we just got done with, right? You know, probably sooner or later you're going to have to what? Factor, maybe use quadratic formula, depending on what the numbers look like. All right, let's clean this up first. I got x squared minus 6x plus 18 equals 90. Why can I not factor yet? Not equal to 0. We just went over this in the similarity unit. X squared minus 6x. How do I move the 90 over? Okay, let's see if I subtract it. 72? Minus 72, yep. All right, can anybody find two numbers that do what? What are you looking for? Two numbers that multiply to? Negative 72, but add to? Negative 6. You could also use quadratic formula here if you don't want to factor it. Billy? 6 and 12 are the winners. Specifically, positive 6 and negative 12. Solve each now. X minus 12 equals 0. Bless you, Matt. X plus 6 equals 0. So I get out x equals 12 and x equals negative 6. Now, I know some of you are just in the habit of rejecting the negative, but take a look. Everyone, take a look. If I plug in negative 6 here, is this segment still going to be positive or negative? Look here. Hey, 18 plus 2 times negative 6. That's still going to be a positive answer. Same thing here. That's still going to be positive. So I know the answer is negative, but when you plug it back in, both of these segments come out to be positive. So there's no reason to reject both. I believe we keep both. All right, negative 6 and 12. Little factor in there for you. Yes, Billy. You're not up yet. Emma, you can be on deck. Which one? Was that yours, Billy? 10? Okay, look at that. 2 birds, 1 stone. Perfect. What are we looking at for 10? All right, little graphing, huh? Okay. Maybe. There. Oh, not 11. Okay. All right. Let me go, because I can't see anything. Let me, that might be a problem too. Make sure you tell them I said hi in that message. -8, -8. Oh, I got cut off, son of a gun. All right, I'm going to have to wing it then without the graph. Okay, I got to wing it without the graph. All right, show DE is half of AB. Anybody know what formula I'm going to need here if I'm going to show the length of DE is half the length of AB? Distance formula. Yep, I don't even need the graph here. All right, so everyone, this is going to be a distance formula problem. DE is half the length of AB. So let's first go, where'd it go? Let's first go with, oh, if I could write. Distance of D, come on. Oh, there we go. Let's put this back over here. Distance of DE. Is this formula on your formula sheet? Distance formula. Anybody know? Is that on your formula sheet I'm going to give you? Nope. Trying to tell you something there. Okay, distance of DE. Here we go. Let's see. What are the x coordinates? Oh, I didn't. It helps too to read the problem, right? What are E? Those are the midpoints of BC and AC, so we have to find those first before I use distance formula. And you know what? I'm going to have you guys find those. But I'll go over the midpoint formula. Midpoint formula, anybody? X1 plus X2 over 2, Y2 plus Y1 over 2. Okay, so you're going to find the midpoint of BC and you're going to find the midpoint of AC right now and call them points D and E. Two 0 and 0 -6. How'd we do? No? 0 -6. Those should be the midpoints of BC and AC. Anybody want to see how we got those? Or are we all right? Okay. Can we go back to the distance now of DE? All right, a little help from you now. What are the x coordinates of D and E? 2n. Okay, so I can go 2 minus 0 squared plus, what about the y coordinates of D and E? Okay, it'll be 0 minus a negative 6, which is 0 plus 6 squared. All right, let's keep going. 2 squared. 4 plus 6 squared. 36. That's going to give me the square root of 40. We all right there? Since we just finished this, anybody want to break down 40? 4 and 10. So it's 2 radical 10. All right, what do we have to find the distance of now? What are we comparing DE to? AB. All right, here we go, everyone. Distance of AB now. Same formula. Can anybody give me the x coordinates of A and B? X coordinates of A and B. Negative 8 and, so it'll be negative 8 plus 4 when I plug it in. Negative 8 plus 4 squared. And what about the y coordinates of A and B? Negative 8 and 4. So negative 8 minus 4, all squared. Are we okay on where these numbers are coming from? Why the sign here is plus, why it's there is minus. We all good? Ask away here. All right, next up. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4 squared. Negative 4 squared. Guys, you see these numbers I'm getting out and I'm adding together? They're always going to be positive. A couple of you yesterday throwing negatives underneath. We've never had negatives underneath the radical. You should never get a negative number underneath the radical. Negative 8 minus 4. Negative 12. Negative 12 squared. 144. Oh, this one looks familiar, huh? Square root of 160. All right. What's that break down into, quiz kids? 16 and 10. So it's 4 radical 10. And Emma, let me go back to you. This was your question. What were we trying to prove again? DE is half of AB. What was the distance of DE? So is 2 radical 10 half of, what was the distance of AB? What's 1/2 of 4? So 2 radical 10 equals 2 radical 10. Yep. Distance and midpoint. That's what you need to get out of this one. Distance and midpoint. Matt, what you have? 11. Can we save that for first thing tomorrow? Because I don't think I'm going to get through it in the 3 minutes that we have. So if I forget, you remind me right away tomorrow. Okay? All right. I've got some other suggestions on the assignment sheet for tonight. But again, you don't have to ask questions from the review packet. You can ask just topics in general. And also Friday, usually there's not, but there will be late bus on Friday if you want to stay after for me or any class for that matter. All right? Really? Oh, all right. Thought that was different.